Think about the last time you went out and got a haircut.
Oh, man. Usually a pretty forgettable experience, right?
Exactly. Like, if you were like most guys out there, you probably just sat in this, stiff vinyl chair.
Flipping through some car magazine from like 4 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. And basically just counting down the minutes until you could finally leave. It's a mundane chore. It's just something you try to squeeze in between the gym and going to the grocery store.
Right, a total errand.
But so, what if that exact same chore came with a heavy leather chair, a neat glass of premium whiskey, and an environment that is so meticulously crafted that you actually end up buying like 3 bottles of high-end beard oil on your way out the door?
Well, that completely changes the game because you take a necessary errand and you essentially engineer an experiential habit.
Right.
Suddenly, the consumer isn't just paying for, the removal of hair. They're paying for the environment itself. They're paying for an escape.
Which completely transforms the unit economics of a standard retail footprint. So today we're doing a deep dive into a highly unique franchise model in the men's health and beauty space. It's called ManBasics.
It's a fascinating concept.
It really is. We're going to unpack how this brand evolved from, honestly, a literal folding table to a multi-revenue stream speakeasy, barbershop, and mercantile.
Which is a brilliant pivot.
Yeah, we'll dig into the psychology of their customer retention, and we will break down the actual financial profile for potential franchise buyers who are maybe looking to secure some prime territory.
And, exploring that buyer psychology is really the foundational step here.
Definitely.
If you are looking at your portfolio right now and you're evaluating different franchise models, the spreadsheet only tells you half the story.
Right, the numbers only go so far.
Exactly. The build-out costs, the royalty structures, none of that matters if you don't fundamentally understand why a consumer chooses to spend $50 or $60 here instead of, $15 at the discount place down the street.
Yeah, the product market fit.
Precisely. That product market fit dictates the survival of the business.
And their path to finding that fit is so interesting because they essentially reverse engineered the traditional salon launch.
They really did.
Like, if you think about how someone usually starts a barbershop, they go out, they secure a commercial lease, they buy all these expensive barber chairs.
Which are not cheap, by the way.
No, not at all. And then they hang a sign out front and basically just pray that foot traffic magically appears.
It's that classic build it and they will come fallacy.
Right.
And it is incredibly risky because you are taking on massive overhead before you have even validated that anyone actually wants what you are selling.
Exactly. But ManBasics went in the complete opposite direction. They started back in 2018, and they didn't even have a barbershop at all.
No, they started strictly as a product line.
Yeah. The philosophy was just, stick to the basics. They looked at the men's care market, all the beard oils, the balms, the washes, and they saw this massive disconnect.
Because the big corporate brands were just pumping out products filled with harsh, completely unnecessary chemicals.
Right. So ManBasics decided to just formulate their own line using 100% all-natural ingredients, and they just stripped away all the junk.
But what is really revealing about their corporate DNA is how they handled that whole all-natural positioning.
Oh, yeah.
Because in the cosmetics and personal care industry, all-natural is often just a marketing buzzword.
Sure.
A lot of startup brands will actually sacrifice the safety of their product just to keep that pure, chemical-free claim on their label.
Well, wait, because I was actually looking at their ingredients list earlier, and I noticed something that seemed to contradict that a bit.
Okay, what did you see?
So their beard oils and balms are purely natural, but for anything water-based, like their lotions or certain beard washes, they actually use a preservative. Did they just, cave to manufacturing pressure?
I mean, it looks like a compromise on paper, right? But it is actually a brilliant lesson in operational integrity.
So.
Because a water-based product without a preservative isn't just natural. It is essentially a petri dish.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. If water sits on a shelf at room temperature, it will grow mold.
Yeah.
It will literally become a science experiment in your customer's bathroom cabinet.
Gross. So purely natural water-based products are actually dangerous.
Exactly. So ManBasics took a very pragmatic stance. They deliberately chose to use a mild, very carefully selected preservative in those specific products.
Makes sense.
And they're completely transparent about it, too. They tell their customers point blank, a shelf-stable product is vastly safer for you than a strictly natural product that goes bad.
Which is just honest.
Right. They prioritize the actual health and safety of the consumer over just a blind devotion to a marketing gimmick.
Which establishes a massive amount of trust. Like, if you are a consumer and a brand is shooting straight with you about why a certain ingredient is in the bottle, you feel taken care of.
Absolutely.
And you can really see how that trust translated into their early growth, because in 2019, they weren't in high-end retail spaces.
No, they were hustling.
Yeah, they were out selling these handcrafted products at local farmers markets in Texas.
Which is, think about the crucible of a farmer's market.
Oh, it's intense.
You are standing face-to-face with the consumer. There's nowhere to hide. If your product smells weird, or if the branding is off in any way, you get that feedback instantly.
Immediately.
It forces a business to dial in exactly what their demographic actually wants.
It's essentially a tech company running a live beta test, but with beard oil.
That's a great analogy.
They gathered the data, they refined their scents, and then by the end of 2019, they finally scaled up to a mall kiosk. So they spent that entire year just building up a fiercely loyal community of what they actually call their raving fans.
They proved their demand out in the wild first.
Yes. And then, only after they had an established audience, did they build a physical storefront around them.
Which is the smart way to do it.
Right. They opened their first brick-and-mortar location in Old Town Spring, Texas, and eventually expanded to a second location servicing the Woodlands and Conroe areas.
Which really points to a universal law of modern business, which is community-first retail.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, in the 2020s, physical storefronts shouldn't be built to attract an audience from scratch. They should be built to house an audience you have already acquired.
Wow, yeah.
And that transition from a product kiosk to a brick-and-mortar footprint is really where they introduce the concept that truly separates their unit economics from the rest of the pack.
The speakeasy element.
Exactly. They opened a Speakeasy, Barbershop, and Mercantile.
So they've engineered this incredibly sticky, community-driven consumer habit, but translating a cool local spot into a scalable franchise requires a totally different kind of math.
It does.
So how does this Speakeasy and Mercantile model actually look on a spreadsheet? Because we aren't just talking about a single revenue stream anymore, right?
Right. Let's break down the mechanics of the revenue. So Stream 1 is your service foundation. High-quality haircuts, straight razor shaves, head shaves, and beard trims.
The classic.
Yeah. They employ top-tier barbers to execute this.
Yeah.
But the operational mechanism that actually drives this stream is their online booking system.
Which feels like it should be standard everywhere by now, but it is shocking how many traditional barbershops still run on that walk-in, sit-and-wait model.
It's so frustrating for the customer.
It really is. ManBasics is actually respecting the customer's time. You book online, you show up, you get in the chair. You aren't burning half your Saturday morning waiting in a lobby.
Right. It removes the friction from the transaction entirely. But as an investor, you really have to look at the limitations of service revenue.
What do you mean?
Well, it is a linear equation. A highly skilled barber can still only cut a finite number of heads in an 8-hour shift.
True.
There's a hard ceiling on how much money that chair can generate purely from services.
Right, because time is the limiting factor. You can only scale by adding more chairs or charging a much higher premium for the cut.
Precisely. And that is where Revenue Stream 2 fundamentally changes the math.
The Mercantile?
The Mercantile. Because they started as a product company, they aren't just stocking their shelves with, third-party wholesale gels you can buy at any drugstore.
Right.
They are selling their own proprietary line of handcrafted men's personal care products.
And the branding is incredibly dialed into their specific demographic. Like, we're talking top sellers, like the whiskey old-fashioned beard oil, the mojito blend beard balm.
They smell amazing, by the way.
I bet. And they sell these pure copper double-edged safety razors. They even have a product literally called Not Your Girlfriend's Beard Wash.
Which is brilliant.
It's so cohesive, it's clever, and it just feels exclusive to the space.
And from an economic standpoint, the integration of that proprietary retail is massive.
Because of the margins?
Exactly.
Yeah.
The margins on manufacturing and selling your own product line are significantly higher than buying third-party inventory.
Right. That makes total sense.
So consider the actual transaction flow. A customer comes in for a premium cut. They love the scent of the whiskey old-fashioned beard oil the barber uses during the service. On the way out, they buy a bottle. Maybe they grab the comb and brush kit, too.
So the average ticket price for that single 30-minute visit just doubled, or maybe even tripled, without taking up any extra time from the barber.
You've effectively broken the ceiling on the service model.
Wow. Yeah.
And because the product is high quality, it creates a replenishment cycle.
What?
The customer runs out of beard wash in a month, so they come back to the Mercantile to buy more.
Which likely triggers another haircut booking while they're there.
Exactly. It creates a self-sustaining loop of customer retention.
But the glue holding this all together, the thing that makes the customer choose to walk through the door instead of just buying a razor online, is that experiential layer.
The vibe.
Yes, it's a Speakeasy barbershop. They feature a full bar. The pitch to the guy walking in is elegantly simple. It's just, come in, have a drink, get a straight razor shave, grab your beard oil, and get on with your day.
It transforms the transaction into an event. You are combining a high-end grooming service with the relaxed, masculine retreat of having a cocktail. This creates an environment that cannot be easily replicated by a competitor.
No.
And, more importantly, it cannot be digitized.
That is the Amazon-proof factor. You can have a lot of things delivered to your porch with next-day shipping, but you cannot get a straight razor shave, a neat whiskey, and a conversation with your local barber delivered via Prime.
You absolutely cannot. In today's retail landscape, if a physical business does not offer a compelling in-person experience, it is highly vulnerable to e-commerce disruption.
Right.
The ManBasics model insulates the franchise owner from that specific risk. The physical visit isn't an inconvenience. The physical visit is the entire point.
Okay, so the consumer psychology is clearly brilliant, and the diversified revenue streams of the Speakeasy and Mercantile make total sense. But if someone is listening to this and they're analyzing their investment options, they need to know what this actually requires to get off the ground.
The numbers.
Yeah, let's look at the financial profile and the growth strategy for a potential franchise buyer.
Sure. So the brand officially began franchising in 2022. And that exact same year, they were recognized as a top emerging brand.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Currently, they are operating with their initial 2 units and a very lean headquarters team of 3 people.
Okay.
And right now, they are actively seeking expansion in all non-registration states and most registration states.
Okay, let me stop you there for a second, because we hear that terminology a lot in franchise development.
Registration versus non-registration.
Yeah. What exactly is the difference between a registration state and a non-registration state? And why does that matter to someone's timeline if they want to buy a unit?
It's a great question, and it really comes down to state-level regulations.
Okay.
The Federal Trade Commission regulates franchising on a national level, requiring brands to provide a franchise disclosure document, or FDD.
Right, the standard paperwork.
But certain states, registration states like California, New York, or Illinois, they add their own massive layer of legal requirements.
Of course they do.
Right. A franchisor has to officially file and register their paperwork with state regulators and get approved before they can legally offer a franchise to anyone in that specific state.
Which takes time and, I'm guessing, legal fees?
Exactly. Non-registration states, like Texas or Florida, don't have that extra hurdle. Once the federal FDD is updated, a brand can award franchises there immediately.
Ah, I see.
So when ManBasics says they are targeting non-registration states and most registration states, it means they have structured their legal framework to expand aggressively almost anywhere in the country.
But the timeline to open might just be slightly faster depending on where the investor actually lives.
Exactly.
That makes sense. Now let's talk about the actual capital required, because the numbers here are really striking. The total estimated investment range is between $174,459 and $288,408.
Very reasonable.
And the liquid cash requirement is only $100,000.
Plus your standard ongoing fees, a 6% royalty fee and a 2% ad royalty fee operating on a renewable 10-year agreement.
I really have to ask about that initial investment range, because for a brick-and-mortar retail space, coming in under $300,000 feels incredibly low.
It does.
How are they building out a premium speakeasy vibe for that price?
Well, it comes down to the mechanics of the build-out and what you are not required to build.
What do you mean?
If you look at a food franchise, even just a simple fast casual concept, you are spending a small fortune on specialized infrastructure.
Oh, like the kitchens?
Yeah, you need massive commercial exhaust hoods, grease traps, walk-in freezers, and incredibly complex plumbing systems.
Which eats up hundreds of thousands of dollars before you even buy a single piece of furniture.
Precisely. With the ManBasics model, your build-out is fundamentally simpler. You are installing barber stations, some high-end plumbing for the wash bowls, retail shelving, and a bar area.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah, you are putting the capital into the aesthetic, the leather chairs, the lighting, the ambiance, rather than burying it in commercial kitchen infrastructure behind the walls.
And that is what keeps the barrier to entry so accessible? I mean, I'm looking at this whole package, and that sub $300K investment is undeniably attractive. The model is sticky, the economics make sense. But I have to ask the hard question here.
Go for it.
They only have 2 units operating right now. If I'm a corporate professional or an investor getting ready to write a $250,000 check today, why on earth would I risk it on an emerging brand with 2 locations instead of going with a massive legacy franchise that already has like 500 units open across the country?
It is the ultimate risk-reward calculation that every multi-unit investor faces. And the answer basically comes down to real estate and territorial control.
Okay.
If you buy into a legacy brand with 500 locations, you are buying historical data, yes. But guess what you don't have access to?
The best markets.
Exactly. You have 0 prime territory availability.
Oh, wow.
The best zip codes, the most lucrative retail centers, the highly visible corner lots, those were all locked up by early investors 10 years ago.
Right, they're already gone.
If you want into that legacy system today, you're basically fighting for scraps on the outskirts of town. Or you are paying a massive premium to buy an existing older location from a retiring owner.
So you're completely boxed out of the premium demographics.
Right. Getting in on the ground floor of an emerging brand offers a strategic advantage that is completely unavailable with established giants.
You have a wide open map.
Yes. You can plant your flag in the absolute best real estate your city has to offer.
Which completely changes the trajectory of a multi-unit strategy. If the entry cost is accessible, that sub-$300,000 range we talked about, and the map is open, an investor with capital isn't just buying one location.
No, they're scaling.
They have the opportunity to buy 3, 5, or 10 territories and essentially build a fortress around a major metropolitan market before anyone else even realizes the brand exists.
You are trading the historical, decades-long data of a legacy brand for the explosive upside and total market control of an emerging one.
That makes a lot of sense.
And keep in mind, while the franchise brand itself is emerging, the product market fit is already proven.
Right, the farmers markets.
Yes. They spent years at farmers markets and mall kiosks dialing in that proprietary retail. They refined the Speakeasy experiential model. You aren't inventing the wheel here.
You are taking a highly tuned operational engine and just scaling it across premium real estate.
Yeah.
And from an operational standpoint, it seems highly manageable for someone looking to diversify their portfolio. I mean, you aren't dealing with the nightmare of food spoilage, complex supply chains, or massive seasonal inventory shifts.
Not at all.
You have shelf-stable, high-margin retail products and high-end services anchored by an environment that guys actually want to hang out in.
It represents a fascinating convergence. You are taking old-school, localized service of community barbershop and injecting it with modern retail strategy. It proves that business innovation doesn't always require inventing a brand new piece of technology.
Yeah.
Sometimes true innovation is simply looking at a standard historical service and elevating the execution to meet the modern consumer's demand for an actual experience.
It really is a masterclass in market validation. I mean, we've traced this journey from a humble folding table selling all-natural beard oils to a mall kiosk gathering real-time data to a multi-revenue speakeasy concept that commands fierce brand loyalty.
It's quite the evolution.
It beautifully insulates itself from the threat of online shopping by offering an unparalleled VIP vibe.
And honestly, it leaves you with an interesting lens to view the rest of the market through.
How so?
Well, we've seen how ManBasics took a standard necessary haircut and turned it into an experiential, Amazon-proof destination.
Yeah.
If you look around at the daily routines of the modern consumer, what other traditional offline physical chores are out there right now, completely ripe for an experiential overhaul?
Oh, that's a good question. What other mundane tasks could command premium pricing if someone simply layered in a higher level of hospitality and environment?